Sup YouTube, welcome back to another video showcasing your battles. I've been gone for a minute, I know. I just started a new job recently, so I haven't been able to upload as usual, but the regular schedule of uploading will be back, I promise you. But today we are featuring some battles from Midatthegame, aka Rec, who has kindly submitted these battles for me to absolutely roast him. Now, we're gonna try something different today. I'm gonna try to help this poor soul, as well as many of you, on how to improve at this game and level up your gameplay. In today's video, we're rocking Obstagoon in the lead, Gengar as a closer, and Giratina as our pivot. Yes, Giratina's only single moved, but without further delay, let's roast this bloke and get on with this show. Up first, we got Obstagoon versus Poliwrath. Horrible lead. Poliwrath, depending on its moveset, can also be pretty decent against Giratina, and Gengar's incredibly glassy, so, you know. My boy does try to attempt to catch a Dynamic Punch. He catches the Scald, which is fine. He did swap out one turn early, and this is where not having two moves can be a really big handicap. However, if you do have one move on your legendaries, because that's typically what the Pokemon is, then you do want to rock, in this case, the Dragon Claw, which is the preferred moveset. You're going to lose this matchup, which is fine. It doesn't matter. What you want to do is you want to attempt to come back in with Obstagoon and farm this thing down and hopefully have enough energy against the Poliwrath. And because Gengar is double nuke moved, you're going to want to use it as the closer. So you want to save all shields for Gengar. This is a mistake. You come in with Obstagoon. Obstagoon is useless to you because now you're down a shield, and Gengar down a shield with double nukes cannot do jack diddly squat against anything, which sucks, you know, because I love Gengar. Gengar's a beast. Your opponent shields because, you know, they're up a shield, why not respect it? And you're going to get outpaced. The only way you come back from this is if you catch, which you have been trying to CMP, which I like. And that can be good or bad, right? CMPing, knowing when to CMP. CMPing just basically means that you're trying to throw your charge move at the same time that your opponent throws their charge move. Here, you're going to get off some Night Slash damages, but at this point, the game is pretty much done. There's absolutely nothing you can do against the Poliwrath, and I'd imagine they come back in, and we're just going to cut the game right here. If you're liking the video so far, definitely leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel. You're in a perfect lead. You don't want to lose swap. They come in with a Swampert. You're slow to the swap. I'm assuming you're going to try to catch. You fail to catch. I would have came in immediately with the Giratina because this is an incredibly dominant matchup. You tank an Earthquake because you subscribe to the Ruffian Romeo school where we don't shield. Which can be good or bad, you know, but use your shields. And you're going to lose this matchup because you gave this Swampert way too much farm. You're going to attempt to call a bait. I don't think this was enough for the Earthquake. Maybe it was. But now the Swampert can go straight Hydro from here. It's the safer play for them. So you're going to get off this Dragon Claw. And honestly, I know you have double nukes Gengar in the back. But you, one, needed to swap in a lot quicker, and two, you should have shielded if you were going to attempt to maintain swap. Now, your only hope and prayer is that they don't shield this move for whatever goddamn reason, and you have to come in immediately with Gengar. Immediately! I said immediately, Rec. There is no reason to stay in. Absolutely no reason to stay in. You come in with Gengar and you try to get an energy lead. You still have two shields remaining. Your opponent pauses or lags for whatever reason, and Gengar doesn't really win the twos here. So what you needed to do is you land the gunk shot, beautiful, chef's kiss, you love to see it. But you swap in to Gengar immediately because that Togekiss is low enough in health where in the end game, you might be able to close out with Obstagoon. However, you come in order to force the Walrein back out, get shields down, and then farm a crap load of energy on Obstagoon so that you have about a Night Slash left in order to take out the Togekiss. Because now, you're not able to swap out, the Walrein's going to outpace, and because you took like 4 charms, Obstagoon just has nothing left, no HP in the tank to take out this Walrus. So a very winnable game, even though 1, you lost Switch, and then 2, you wound up with your Obstagoon on the Togekiss. But not bad, totally winnable. Next up, Articuno. I like what you do here. I've already seen some of these battles. You go immediately for the Night Slash, even though this isn't optimal timing, just because you know, or I assume that you knew, that the Articuno had Icy Wind and was going to debuff you, so you'd rather get the full attack move off before swapping out. And here you throw on poor timing. You should have done 4. I believe you did 5, which gives your opponent 2 free turns of energy. That's just knowing your timing, your move timings. Honestly, if you learned move timings, like just knowing when to throw your fast moves depending on which fast move you're up against, you would hit veteran easily. No questions asked, no doubt. It's just like a simple fact. You come in here with Giratina, which is pretty ballsy. They don't get to the next Icy Wind, which is perfect. And now you have an energy lead and you CMP here. That's fine. This is perfect. You're going to tank a move. You're going to throw a move. And then we'll see what your opponent wants to do. I don't really remember. But so far, not bad. Not bad. Aside from like the one move where you could have optimized your timing. They come in with Mew. And this is where not having Shadow Sneak is kind of a bust, you know? But again, legendaries are hard to unlock that second move. It's a whopping 100 candy. I believe it's also 100,000 Stardust, which is insane to expect anybody to have, especially when you're starting out in Go Battle League. And here you need to immediately swap in the Gengar. There is absolutely no reason to stay. I know you thought you could reach the Dragon Claw, but you're way too low. On the off chance that, one, they know it's a Dragon Claw and they don't shield, Mew has a boatload of energy. You came in with the Obstagoon, which was even worse. Yes, Shadow Claws are triple resisted, but at that point you want to save the Goon for a possible catch, because you would have been able to catch that Flame Charge from the Mew, came back in with Gengar, and Gengar up 2 shields with energy, you would have won this game. Even with double nukes. You might have been pretty low, but I think you would have had enough health to take out both those Pokemon. And yeah, those flame charges were kind of ranking up the Shadow Claw, so I get that you didn't want to take that damage on the Gengar, but you needed to come in with Gengar and just basically sacrifice it. Here you know that it's not a Focus Blast. They didn't build up to it. It takes 15 turns, I believe, to get to the Focus Blast. And I believe your opponent throws again before reaching a Focus Blast. So you don't need to shield. However, because you get the boost here, I know you're tempted to shield. And even worse, because they're not swapping out, you know the Goon is strong. But I would honestly not shield. And here, immediate swap into Giratina. Yes, you catch the move, but you have such a dominant matchup here that there's no real reason to stay in. You do have a Night Slash loaded and so that could be really, really useful. You do CMP here. I do like that even when you lose CMP, you do tend to CMP with your opponent because it does basically optimize your energy gain because they're not sneaking in any moves. And you tank one more Frenzy here. Again, you CMP. I love to see it. Now, what I would really like to see, though, is an undercharge on this Dragon Claw. Or honestly, for the last one, I probably would have just kept farming. You don't undercharge it, which is fine. It's not the worst thing in the world. But now you have a Mew that comes in, and honestly, I would have probably swapped out into Obstagoon immediately because you have such a dominant matchup with Goon and against the Regirock. Here you tank the Wild Charge, you lose all that energy, and here you have to farm down. You need to farm down. And now I think you just commit to straight fast move beatdown because any sort of advantage you give them, and that's exactly what you do. So, not bad. You won the battle, which is fine, but you lost the war. You lost what matters, man. And that's just watching your videos back or watching your gameplay back and optimizing for it. This is also pretty shit. So far, you're just mon for mon countered. So there's games that you're going to lose, you know, and that's absolutely fine. Clearly, you know, if you had Shadow Sneak here, it would be a lot better of a matchup. And lucky for you, or unlucky, your opponent's just going for straight debuffs in order to fast move beat you down. And that's fine. That's going to happen. And now we're stuck in this war of attrition where both of us are getting absolutely nowhere. And this, in matchups like this, where you know you're going to lose, is where you should be optimizing your gameplay. For fast moves, if you're rocking a 2-turn fast move and they're rocking a 3-turn fast move, you want to throw on 1, 4, and 7, because throwing on those timings gives them only 1 turn of energy. As opposed to what you're doing, which is you're throwing 2 moves and you're giving them 2 free turns. Or if you throw on alignment, you give them a whole 3 free turns worth of energy. And that's like the worst case possible scenario. If you're going to lose, Lose with some dignity, my man. And here you just completely farm this thing down. And honestly, I would like to see you swap out immediately because of all these debuffs. Okay, you're going immediately for the safe swap. And this is GG's. You were just pretty much mon for mon countered. There's absolutely nothing you can do. What you can do here, which you don't, is call the bait. They're gonna debuff you. If you have any chance of succeeding, which you're not, you need both shields for the goon. You need to hope that they don't shield us, which they do, and the game is done. Yeah, I think I cut it out afterwards. But that was your only play, was hoping that maybe you could land the gunk shot on the Virizion and possibly get to something, but even then, I think it was lights out. So, not a great lead, but Gengar also doesn't fare too well against this thing in the back. You are gonna get this low, and let's see if you can farm down. No, I think they were gonna beat you to a move. So the opponent does send off one final charge attack. Fun fact, Blast Burn actually does more damage than one Dragon Claw. And this is another situation where you're pretty mon for mon countered. However, they are rocking Poison Jab. So what you can do is you can expect them to not bait you. So I would shield this move. You subscribe way too much to the Ruffian School. And this is why we lose. And there's no reason, 0% reason to come in with the goon. You don't resist poison jabs. They're gonna farm you down. This is a super, what's it called? Like, you can call that bait 100 times out of 10. Because it's your last Pokemon. There's really nothing you can do in this matchup. Hope for a shield. But if you did have that second shield, you would have been able to farm that thing down. Maybe that was your play. But I think you were still pretty countered at that point. Nidoqueen in the lead. Possible double dark in the back. You do stay in. You call a bait. You do call correctly, and you swap out immediately. I like this play. This isn't bad. Your opponent makes a really nice catch onto a Scizor. This is a pretty shit matchup without Shadow Sneak. Scizor is glassy, but it's not that glassy. It is scissor, not paper. Ha ha ha. I think you make it to one move. Okay, you CMP on this move. I believe you live this. And then I would come back in with the goon and just farm this thing all the way down. Yeah, you land. Okay, you swap out. I like that play even more because your switch timers were misaligned. So I do like that. And what do they come in with? Ooh, a fighter. That kind of sucks. They're gonna farm you all the way down. I would wait out your switch timer. Don't feel the need to swap in immediately, because if you wait those 10 seconds, there is a possibility that you might be able to catch on the Giratina, or 2, clear your debuff. And now you're just committing to straight fast move beatdown, which I like. We'll see if this comes back to bite you in the ass. I don't think you need to make a catch right now. I would wait until, okay, you make a catch. You failed to catch. But now you just need to commit to straight fast move beatdown. Your opponent's at the back-to-back, but your Shadow Claw went through, and I believe they're going to lose this match. Yeah, nice. So again, just some like slight tweaks that you can do to your gameplay. That would massively improve your gameplay, man. Because you're not a bad player. You just make bad mistakes. Here, you CMP with a Rayquaza and those breaking swipe. That's not the move. You want to throw that Night Slash like you did on the Articuno before you get debuffed. Because this is a shit spot to be in just off rip. You try to make a catch, I think, on the Giratina? I don't know what your opponent's doing. Wait, did you just win CMP? That's impossible. There is absolute, I mean, if the game's broken, right? No, I guess they just forgot to swap out. Well, that kind of sucks. They also didn't debuff you. Why? Well, that made no sense. But again, we're faced with another Excadrill. We've already seen how hard this thing hits, which is pretty damn hard, but you still live this. And then I think what you need to do is come back in with the goon and farm this thing all the way down. You're up against another fellow 2-turn fast move, so there's no real optimal timing here. You're both switch locked in. Even better, they throw immediately. They don't overfarm at all. So now I would come in immediately with the goon because your switch timers are misaligned. Commit to a farm down. Check to see if the Rayquaza comes back and throw your move immediately. You're going to lose CMP, but you should survive. You don't throw it. All right. But you should survive the breaking swipe. Throw your move. Throw your move. Throw it. What are you doing? You needed to throw that move. Because now you have to shield. And in the even shield scenario, this might be a little rough for, yeah. If you had 2 shields, man. 2 shields. 1, you would have gotten the Night Slash off. 2 shields up, you might have been able to outpace the Swampert. Because what is it? 13 moves to your back-to-back Shadow Balls. You wouldn't have been debuffed. By that point, your Shadow Claws would have done enough damage. And they would need 14 turns. So one more turn to reach the back-to-back, to reach 3 Hydros, sorry. And you might have been able to clutch that game. So just a little, I figured the game probably lagged on you and you weren't able to swap out into Gengar like you wanted. But just a tough spot. And yes, you're ABA weak to Charm. What do? I like that you're staying in and just sacking the Goon. And now you're hoping that the Togekiss doesn't shield, but they most likely will shield. There's no reason for you to stay in. So they do shield, and you swap out. Perfect. That's beautiful. You're up a shield already. I wouldn't shield this. This is only a rock ancient power. There's only an ancient power. You're gonna survive that, but there's no real reason to shield it. In comes Melmetal. I would have liked to have seen you CMP here in order to farm as much energy as you can. Nice, they let it go. You love to see it. Nuke that thing out of existence. Freaking metal pedophile. In comes Escavalier. And you try to go for the CMP there, I believe, because I think that was 7 counters. And now what you need to do is just, your switch timer's almost up, so you should try to shield. You don't shield. Why aren't you shielding? You're ABA weak to Charm. That Togekiss has a boatload of health. You need your Gengar. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. You need the Gengar. Because you don't have Shadow Sneak. If you had Shadow Sneak, this might be a different matchup. But there's nothing on your team left that can hit that Togekiss for any amount of energy. Now, the only thing you can do is throw on proper timing, which you do. You do there. You threw 4 Shadow Claws for their 3 charms, which is 3 times 3 is 9 versus your 4 is 8 turns, so 8 to 9. That means they can't sneak in an extra charm, which I love. And then there you threw immediately. But again, you needed that S-Cav and you needed to make a catch on the Obstagoon because the S-Cav would have thrown immediately, or a high chance they would have thrown. So just like, there's some things that you can do to optimize your gameplay and use the time that you have when your switch timer is counting down to breathe and contemplate what you want to be doing. What are my next steps here? What can I do? What can I not do? Even when you're throwing your charge move, as you're swiping those bubbles mindlessly, just start thinking of where you can go from here. And you sort of did it in the end game where you swapped out immediately into the Gengar. You saved Giratina in that previous matchup because there was no reason to stay in. So just if you think to yourself, why am I staying in? Is there any reason to stay in? Is my switch timer up? Just get the hell out of there. But overall, man, I think you have what it takes to hit veteran. You do. You just need to tweak some of your gameplay and also not run trash teams. If you do want to run a team like this, 1, double move the Giratina. But 2, I would probably recommend a Cresselia so that you're not ABA weak to Charm. And then Cresselia is a pretty safe pivot, especially if you're running double nukes. Swampert would give you a bit of a problem, but no Swampert's going to stay in against Cresselia. So yeah, thanks for submitting the battles, man. If you want your battle shoutcasted, links down below. And I hope you guys learned something, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.